The Indigenomics framework identifies a trillion-dollar opportunity in the North American economy. The catalyst is a massive shift in federal spending. As of the 2023-2024 reporting period, the Canadian government is legally mandated to award at least 5% of its total contract value to Indigenous-led businesses. That target represents a dedicated pool of approximately $1.24 billion in annual capital, walled off from the standard procurement pipeline. However, high-complexity departments like the Department of National Defense are struggling to reach this threshold. They have the budget, but they lack qualified, security-cleared, Tier 1 Indigenous prime contractors to execute advanced aerospace and data operations. This legally mandated capital is currently trapped. It creates a massive market void, ready for a purpose-built enterprise to capture the overflow. At the same time, the Canadian government is facing a second crisis: the national sovereignty gap in data infrastructure. This diagram illustrates the risk. Under the U.S. Cloud Act, American authorities can legally compel tech giants to surrender data, even if that data is physically stored on Canadian soil. For classified defense intelligence, relying on infrastructure subject to foreign warrants is a critical vulnerability. The D&D requires a hardware and software stack that no outside government can legally access. Star Nations Space Company provides the interlocking solution. A 51% Indigenous-led enterprise, it was engineered specifically to bridge the defense data gap while fulfilling the federal procurement mandate. By solving the military secure data problem and its Indigenous spending quota at the same time, Star Nations creates an impenetrable competitive moat. The technology industry often treats data like oil, a raw commodity to be extracted, pumped across borders, and refined by foreign powers. Star Nations operates on the principle of data as soil. It treats data as a fertile, localized resource, cultivated domestically to grow sovereign artificial intelligence. The company governs its operations through OCAP: ownership, control, access, and possession. These principles ensure that all data collected or processed remains under the absolute stewardship of the community and the nation. Within the federal defense sector, OCAP serves as a hardcore legal compliance mechanism. It ensures that the company's intelligence output remains completely isolated from foreign laws and data extraction. For an investor, the immediate question is one of timing. While building aerospace hardware takes years, Star Nations generates cash flow today. The strategy relies on a value-added reseller model powered by a partnership with ThinkOn. ThinkOn is Canada's only 100% domestically owned, government-approved sovereign cloud provider, making them the necessary backbone for sensitive data. In this model, Star Nations ingests third-party satellite data into ThinkOn's secure 123 enclave. Star Nations then applies its proprietary AI to process that data, detecting threats or mapping terrain, and sells the finished intelligence directly to the D&D. This immediate commercial transaction allows the Department of National Defense to fulfill its 5% Indigenous procurement quota. This terrestrial bridge de-risks the company's early stages, generating the high-margin cash flow needed to fund the transition into space. However, terrestrial AI computing is reaching a physical limit. Advanced models require massive amounts of grid electricity and water cooling that local environments can no longer sustain. The engineering solution is to move the data center off the planet entirely. This is Phase 3, EagleSat-1. It is Canada's first Indigenous-led orbital AI constellation. By placing NVIDIA H100 chips in low Earth orbit, Star Nations gains access to infinite solar power and zero-cost thermal cooling in the vacuum of deep space. This orbital launch transforms the company into a high-margin, hardware-backed space infrastructure monopoly. This orbital infrastructure integrates directly with the secure terrestrial vaults already established with ThinkOn. We call this the sovereign loop. Satellite data is processed in orbit and downlinked directly into ThinkOn's fortified Canadian centers. This creates an end-to-end intelligence network that is 100% Canadian-controlled, completely bypassing international jurisdictions. The Canadian stack serves as both a vehicle for exponential venture returns and a permanent engine for true digital sovereignty.